Greetings and salutations, everybody out there in little YouTube land, Linux land, whatever land you think you're from or want to be in. Yeah, this is Rick Koppel coming at you from Denver, Colorado, and I'm got an interesting treat for you today, I think. Yeah, interesting thoughts and interesting fun. My volume sound seems to be doing okay. Find out once way actually it's on here. Shows up, tells me I'm okay. No way to tell unless I turn this up and freak everybody out for a little bit. Which I could do, but maybe not a good idea at this point anyway. We have a Endeavour OS on tap for tonight. It's cool. Really like it. I actually decided to install this framework for a while. And I liked it. The only problem was that the desktop I chose for it, Cinnamon, wasn't very good for doing fractional scaling on the monitor, and I try to match up with a 10 by 10 this 3.2 monitor by 6.9 monitor. That's not easy to do, but anyway, I was able to do it on this. Actually, when I ran it on this, I had no trouble selecting the right right resolution for the display. So let's see what happened now. Yeah, so we got my brew for today is a little whiskey. What kind of whiskey, you wonder, you're asking? Well, it's whiskey that came from Scotland, actually. Peter's old stomping grounds. Yeah, it's a monkey shoulder. I don't know if you ever heard of it, but yeah, it says on here that interesting side note that a malt man's skill is demonstrated as he turns the malting barley by hand. Years ago, some malt men would develop a straining injury known as monkey shoulder. Thankfully, all the condition no longer exists. In other words, they're cranking around the thing, they got the shoulder, they call it monkey shoulder for some reason. Somebody came up with the name, who knows why. But yeah, our monkey shoulder. It says monkey shoulder whiskey. It's a blend of spray. What is spray? Can't remember where the name of the place it came from. Sprayside's finest single malt whiskey is blended to a smooth whiskey. So that's my brew for today. And we have nobody here yet, huh? Well, we'll keep going. We got a lot to cover actually today. Good bit. I'm trying to pack it down. It's pretty easy to install, so it's not hard to install, but I'm going to go through with you because some of the new things are actually in the installation itself. Some of the new qualities of the new Apollo that's landed. So yeah, you'll get to see that, and you'll get to see the issues that surround it. When we start there, we'll go to the website and we'll look at that for a bit. Alrighty? Okay, let's look at this website. There we are, down on Endeavour OS. Apollo has landed. Woohoo. Exciting, huh? Yeah. So, yeah, this Apollo has landed. We're going to go over here to Explore and just check to make sure it's coming through on the feed good. So we're going to here to Explore. Now, if you need to go right to download, you can go here. Latest release, installation, wiki, bug report. which are a few bugs in the worm version, but that's to be expected. So we go to Explorer here, and we will check out what Apollo has landed. April 8th, 2022 is when this was released, or when it was published release. When it was announced released, at least. Okay, so it's got new features here. Got any new features? Yeah, those new features. Fixes on the ISO. They have ISO issues and installation issues that they fixed. New buttons I noticed here for customized installation. New info buttons, that is. Not new buttons, but new info buttons. They did have new buttons on here too. I don't know how you pronounce that. Keyword icons and cursors used on live environment and offline. XFCE for install. Previously used our icon theme. So yeah. Yeah, so you have Bluetooth labeled in the live environment. It means you can check if Bluetooth is working before you install a sucker. Apparently you couldn't do that before. Hey, say, howdy Larry and Raven. Sorry if I pronounced your name wrong, but Sravan, something like that. Anyway, yeah, pardon me if I'm pronouncing it wrong, but I'll do my best to get it right later on. And so Larry made it, yay! So we got Larry and Sravan. Who's it pronounced like Sravan? Sounds close enough to me. Is that Swedish or something? Sounds kind of Swedish name. But at any rate, so we're just looking at the new features here that are being installed on there. They have ISO fixes, bugs they fixed on ISO, and they also have new icon set for the installation for live environment. It's also available if you want to use it for other things. It says new features and fixes on the installed system. Firewall is enabled by default out of the box. Is that the other way around, which usually was on most distros? I heard somebody complain about that just recently. Seemed high. Indian, oh, I see. Last one is correct. Stravan. Yeah, Indian, huh? Indian is an Indian, not Indian is an American Indian, right? I assume that's probably correct. Okay, so yeah, you got firewalls enabled, EOS quick start, and package list, and NVIDIA instant, auto ranking hook for Endeavour OS, mirror list, additional OS rank mirrors, fixed reboot, info message after update for refined users, fixed generated grub code. So it also has this new window manager we're going to take a look at briefly. I just looked at it a little bit yesterday, and so I'm going to see what I can help with. And one of the few things I still need to do on it as far as looking at it, and that's to find out what the memory usage is. It's supposed to be really low, so I'm interested to find that out. And so it's got all the information there about Worm, their new window manager. It's been developed by one of their people in the community fixes. Now, we'll go over here. So that's all that. And like I say, if you want to install it, you'll hear a download page, latest release. It's got installation wiki and bug report notes there. And yeah, you have to go down a ways per actually get to the spot where it talks about it. One interesting thing is it supposedly installs NVIDIA drivers out of the box too. So that's interesting. And might be one for somebody to dedicate on talking about NVIDIA drivers on Telegram, Saloon Telegram list before. So it tells some same stuff you learned up there because it's gone here. Yeah, I know. Worm. Tells you about worm. After that, you can download over here. Now, yeah, so you probably want to select the country if you're in one, like Germany or Singapore, or China. This is a distro that comes from Netherlands, I believe, if I remember correctly. So that's interesting. And Sweden and Linux Pizza is a strange name but I guess they're strange in Sweden or something. Yeah, so Tuna, China, Euromirror. Yeah. Names people come up with sometimes. So anyway, you want to download the ISO, you download it here. You can download it as a torrent. You also download your checksum here to do your validation. What you download is what you thought you got, that kind of thing. And GPG sig file, which is more validation than just that. So, yeah, you can look at those and check those out. And it tells you how to check out your ISO with the SH512 sum. And it tells you how to check out GNUPG. It's a mouthful. And key details. Fingerprint, our initialized development of one help us by giving us feedback. You can read our source code over here. If you're interested in helping out, I guess, coding, that'd be a place to go to help out with Endeavour OS. I've used Endeavour OS, as I said before y'all guys got here. Before on this very laptop that I'm broadcasting here, the framework laptop that I'm using. And it worked pretty good. And it did that, and it worked real well. The only problem was I installed a cinnamon version, which apparently doesn't have very good fractional scaling on it. So, yeah, and I had trouble matching this screen with my 1920 by 1080 screen over on the big screen over here that I have. So say Sarah, and so I moved on to a different distro altogether. I could have just gone with Endeavour, but I was a little squeamish about staying on an Arch for too long too. So this is MX Linux I have is actually installed on this machine. It works beautifully actually. So yeah. So anyway, let's see. Back to Endeavour. So let's go over to our. Now, we have this running in virtual boxes, but I'm going to go through the installation of this. Now, if you want to do an install on the Community Edition, which is Window Manager Editions, click this button here, and it'll take you to the install process on those. And so then you select American English, all that kind of stuff. Next. Yes, next type stuff here. Anyway, at some certain point, it gives you options to select several window manager editions type things. And we're not going to do this now because that would require an extra 30 minutes to an hour to do. So, yeah, we got plenty on our plate to get done here. Oh, Raspberry Pi, huh? Yeah, Servon says he used Endeavour OS on a Raspberry Pi. That always made me think of pie. Don't know why. It's because it's maybe it sounds the same. See, there's so. Yes, we want to quit this. So that's how you start the Community Edition. Now this starts the regular installer, which allows you to choose if you're online. It allows you to choose from several options. If you're offline, then it allows you to install it just using the XFCE desktop, which is probably what we're going to use because it'll speed up the installation process a bit. Maybe not the update process, but the installation will. That's true. maybe we'll decide when we get there, okay? So, yeah, but anyway, one of the things they have this install, this is like the install section. You can also customize the install process. This is a new edition I think they have. And I haven't really looked at this edition before, but you can go here. And, oh, here goes a web page telling you how to do it. All right. Okay. So anyway, yeah, you can edit this file. You can add in whatever package you wanted to install. Then that are in the repos, but not are apparently not from AUR. Write only one package name per line. So if you want to install Firefox ERS, or make sure it had stuff like, whatever you wanted. It's a new way to do it, so you can get it started with a minimal system, and you add in exactly what you want. So that's kind of nice. Or you can customize by using user commands. This will run at the end of the installation process, and it just runs these commands, and you can have it do whatever you want it to do. What the desktop do I have on? Oh, he's talking to Larry. He's talking to Servan there. Yeah. So, yeah, I'll let him talk about that. So anyway, yeah, you can add in all of these commands you want. Live user commands, bash, and you can make any command you want. You add anything. There's limitations for the commands, though, it says down here. Commands are running through a user, so all AUR packages cannot be installed still. Apparently, that's a restriction on AUR, is that it can be installed in the middle of running as root. So, and then when you finish, you have to go in and modify the files to be owned by the user, not root, because of course root's going to install them, so it'll be listed as root. Yeah. So, and then you also have to use non-confirm on it if you install any packages on there through Pacman, because apparently you can't stop to ask yes and no questions in there or something like that on them. So, yeah. So you add those files and it'll run it, or install this, you can install it. I personally, since I already have a script that installs all the programs I like to run it just bare minimum. Ideally, I run it bare minimum when I install a package, and I run my scripts and install Firewall on there. Make sure it's on there or whatever. All right. So that's that button, customize, install. And you got update mirrors, which is update mirrors before system update. Before you do a system update, which since I probably might use it just runs reflector. I think it's what it's called, reflector. And yeah, so I'm going to say okay, everything looks good. United States, and include HTTPS mirrors. So I'll say okay. What that does is, it, for people who don't know, y'all probably know about this, but for people who don't know and watch this later, this basically will take the closest or fastest mirrors to you, to your location, and make those mirrors that it uses to download all the Arch stuff. Obviously, you want the fastest mirrors, right? You don't want a mirror from Africa if you live in the United States, or vice versa, or whatever. So yeah. So then it selected these mirrors here. You can look through them if there's anything, oh, I don't like that mirror or whatever. Take it out, or you can leave them there or whatever, and then you save to Pacman mirror list. Pacman.d/mirror list if you want to be specific, or more specific, etc.pacman.d/mirror list. It's where they store all the mirrors for your list of mirrors it accesses. So that's update mirrors. You can also change the display resolution, which I used on this. Pretty cool. Partition manager, like if you need to do some disk partitioning, structure, restructure, whatever, you can use that. Bluetooth notes, latest release info, installation tips, and how to share system logs. Yes, they may ask for that on the forum or something probably. So yeah, change logs, software news, and help. Help, help, help. So we'll go ahead and start the installer. First thing pops up is this. Online method lets you choose your desktop with vanilla theming. Internet connection is required. If you happen to be installing this without internet connection, then you can just install it with offline method, which gives you an XFCE desktop with Endeavour OS theming. Internet connection is not needed. We're going to go ahead and do online because we got to update anyway, and I know from the last one I did that will make it automatically updated when you log into it first time. So that's nice. It's like saying update while I'm in process. So we're ready for takeoff, it says. And yeah, so we'll go through this. Next. Most of these are next things. It correctly identifies mountain time zone. And the United States is my location. And defaults in US keyboard and default keyboard for US, which works for me. Then you got erase disk or manual partitioning. I think I'll just go with the BIOS, the erase disk, especially on a virtual machine where you don't have anything. I could set this up as EFI, so you want to see EFI, but I think, yeah, not important for this point. Nothing new in the EFI thing that I remember from the notes, so I'm going to swap the file since it's not a big disk. I'm going to swap the file, and that'll do it. So we'll erase the disk. It's already erased, so there's nothing on it right now. It's like a brand new disk. And we'll click next. Now we get to select our desktop. XFCE, KD Plasma, Gnome, Mate, Cinnamon, Budgie, LXQT, LXD, or i3. Now, Worms in the community runs the other installation process we went through. That's just so you know what's going on there. And so we'll get that in a minute, but we'll show in a minute. I have it already installed on this virtual machine along with Bungee. So we're going to do XFCE4. See what it's like. Just as since we already have the other ones on there. And we're going to go, so we're going to go next. Now here is base development packages. It says recommend don't change unless you know what you're doing. Which of course I wouldn't do that. Firefox is a browser installed. You can click that. Now apparently before that was one of the bugs that they noted in the installation process was that Firefox was sometimes still installed even though people uncheck this. So they fixed that so if you uncheck it, it won't install. Because you need some kind of a web browser to do things with once you get it going. Unless you have an installation process that's automatic on the other end for other browsers, plus Firefox. So you install your LTS kernel or your Zen kernel in addition to the regular Linux kernel installs. I can't remember if this was Endeavour that did this or another one. Another one's a little confusing in that regard, in that it wasn't sure it had the LX, had the regular Linux kernels installed already checked. It was there, but it wasn't checked off. You had to like check it off to get it, or you wouldn't have a kernel installed, but they install a kernel anyway, even if you didn't check it. So I don't know why. So maybe this is a fix from that. I don't know if it's Endeavour or a different person, different distro did that. But anyway, LTS kernel in addition, Zen kernel, and you saw also i3 Window Manager, KD Desktop, Gnome Desktop, Mate Desktop, Cinnamon Desktop, Bungee Desktop, printing support. We'll install that. And here, if you have HP printer, which I don't, I got Brother. Then you have support for HP printers there, and you have accessibility tools there. Screen reader, mouse tweaks, people who have impaired vision, that kind of thing. So if you have that, you can install that stuff too. Cool. So I think I'm wondering if I should install the only window manager installs i3, and they said there was a bug originally that prevented the conflicts between XFCE and i3. So we'll install that and see if there's any conflicts too. All right, next. Now we have my name, Rick. We're going to call this in Endeavour. Call that Endeavour XFCE. Type in my password that I wish to use for system. Passwords do not match. Oh no. Here they do. Okay, so we're not going to log in automatically without asking for password. I'll put a password on if you're not going to log in on it. No. Use the same password for administrator. Yes, we're going to do that. So next. So there's your summary of it. And it tells you what all it's going to do to you, to your computer, hard drives and all. And then we will click install. And everything looks good to me. So we install now. Yes, it's going to erase all the change, all of this and all that stuff. And it begins kicking into gear. Wee-hee. So you can get faster install things and everything. Starch, Linux, and Pac-Man. Got installer makes it easier than ever to customize your system and get it up and running quickly. Yeah, so yeah, this, from my previous experience, it takes a while, especially on the online version, because of course it's downloading stuff off the internet as well. But it does pretty well. It takes about 5-10 minutes for this to run, I think, if I remember right. Previous experience. Howdy, Nathan. Howdy. How you doing this day? Yeah, we're downloading and Endeavour right now, the XFCE version. As I understand, the desktop's pretty vanilla on it, so it shouldn't be too much surprising on it, I don't think. But we're going to take a look at this thing here, after install task. So yeah, it's pretty cool. Actually, I think it's probably one of the better after install task lists I've seen. Yeah, looks like you're having some fun. Yeah, pretty much. So yeah, install. You guess what this is? Not Kool-Aid, I can tell you that. So yeah, we're working on it. Working. And we're almost done, hopefully. No, we're not. Anyway, it's interesting. I was watching some other programs today while we were just installed. It's kicking into gear, installing 237 packages. Woohoo! I mean, it's finished downloading. Downloading. Cool. So I was watching another package, DT actually, DistroTube, and he was talking about open free software, and the difference, and what some people get confused by free software. I was confused originally when I did it too. When I first got into Linux, and I was, what's this, free? I got to pay for this, you mean? If it's not free? No, not what it means. Basically, it means open free. The open software is like 10 things that open software has to get before it can qualify as open software. So he's explaining that, going through lists, and because some people were confused about whether Vivaldi, which has some proprietary code in it, and some other ones. Now you can look at all the code in Vivaldi, but that's only one of the things it checks off. It doesn't check off any of the other ones apparently. which means you should be able to take the code, rework it, modify it, redistribute it as you wish. That's one of the things that's helped Linux survive for so long, because yeah, anytime a distro decides it's going to go up, you can always fork it. Anybody can fork it. I can fork it if I knew how. But I could learn how to fork, I could learn how to do all of the development stuff, and I could do my own distro if I wanted to. So yeah, pretty cool. And but anyway, yeah, all open and free software like Vivaldi. If Vivaldi started being antsy with their stuff, you should be able to take their code and fork it in another browser if you wanted to. Similar browser, that kind of thing. So yeah, some people don't realize, that of course that's what makes most of it free, because if you can do that, who's going to pay for stuff they're going to give away to everybody else, the code for it. So that's part of the purpose of having paid software, is that you have all these people write code, and they don't want to tell you what it is, because if you know what the code is, then you can go out and do it yourself, fork it and run with it, that kind of thing. So anyway, if you want to know more about that, you can go watch DistroTube. I don't remember what. I think it's fairly recent, like several days old, 8 days or something like that. So I don't know. Yeah. Now some other project this week has been trying to get OpenSuse to run in NDI, because last Linux Loon, or was it on Steve's channel? We heard about the NDI. I think it's on Steve's channel, if I remember correctly. Yeah, because he was talking about how he has NDI, and he has to have that on Saints to work. Looks like we're almost done over here. And so anyway, I thought, well, that sounds interesting. So I wonder what on earth NDI did, So I went and checked. Sure enough, it's basically a plugin to OBS that allows you to do all these nifty things, like have streaming on one computer while you're playing a game on another computer and showing it through the stream, that kind of thing. So pretty cool. So I got it successfully installed on my Framework laptop, but I wasn't able to get it on Peppermint over here, on this laptop over here. And I had this test machine with OpenSuse installed on it, and I was trying to get installed, so I asked Nathan about if he had a way to do that, and he pointed me to an article he wrote some about 2 years ago. So it was a little out of date, but not terribly, but there's a thing or two I needed to know differently on there. And I tried another way somebody else had, and no luck on either one of them. So still working on that. Anyway, may eventually do a show on that if I get it to working. So we're gonna go done now, and we're gonna go over here, and that's Virtualbox, isn't it? Yeah. So it's all full screen, so I can see what I'm doing here. Get all the access stuff out of the way. There we are. Endeavour. And so we're going to shut this down for the time being, because I need to take out the disk out of it. And then it'll help it be easier just take it out and then start it back up than to reboot and have to worry. It might use the disk from virtual drive. Done. Okay, now we can start back up. Should boot up in our new XFCE system. Endeavour. Yeah, it looks like Arch improved that first thing. It's always high up for a while, but at the top where it said checking NDB or someone, whatever that code was at the top of this list, and it would sit there for a while before it move on. I thought I had problems when I was doing it. I thought, well, I was sitting here for a long time doing nothing. So then I moved on, Control C out of it, and that wasn't a good idea either, because I just waited for however long it was going to take, it'd done it. Okay, so here we are, Endeavour OS Apollo. Have new graphics for this, obviously. So now you get your install, but I need the general. like it's cranking when someone else is going to pull up. Okay, forum, donate about welcome, website, wiki news. Okay, it's just general information you can get on the installs. Well, there's supposed to be another thing. Maybe this is in the way of it. So anyway, let's see if I can get to it. The menu. Endeavour welcome. There's probably what I need. That's what it should pop up with in most if you did it on a regular system. No, same thing. Okay. Let's look at log tool. Well, I don't know where that is. Huh. Interesting. I missed some on there, did I? No. No. Well, on the other one, it came up, it had an after install. And it had separate things from this thing here. So that's interesting. I think it would have automatically kicked into that, but for some reason it's kicked into this instead of the after install section, which is pretty cool, I thought at the time. Or I still think it's pretty cool, but now I can't get to it. I don't know how to get to it. So probably there's a way to do it. EAOF. You go to terminal, you enable EOF, stuff like that. I don't remember what the term was. Welcome, but anyway, maybe it'll actually boot into it somewhere. Okay, and screenshot. So you can take a screenshot of the entire screen. English. That's some. Not gonna tell me what it is. This is your firewall, I think. Yeah, that's the firewall there. Like I said, one of the changes they made is out of the box. It's enabled. They must be watching something. I think somebody else said that on the Linux Saloon last week. Why don't more do that kind of thing? And Endeavour OS does apparently now. So volume, and you got your computer fully charged, your power supply, and notifications. Now if you go here, I think Control-Alt-T should get this up, yep. And we will get it into terminal. Increase size of that a bit more. And let's see, it's got htop installed. No, it doesn't. I don't think it did in the other ones either. So sudo pacman, whoops. Been on I was packing there. S and htop. And yes. And we're done. Htop. Oops, if I spelled it right, it would work. Instead, I apparently went in some other weird thing. Alrighty. Looks like it's using 506 megabytes of data out of 4 gigs of memory I gave it. And the CPU is running pretty good. It's 1 to 2% for each of the threads I gave it. No sense. So it's got 68 tasks, 1 running, which of course is what we're looking at here. And yeah, looks pretty good. 500 is about pretty good for XFCE overall, so it's not bad. Of course, it all depends on what they got running in the background. The more stuff you have running in the background, the more, the bigger that number is going to be. So you see a range. I've seen XFCE range anywhere from 506 like this, and all the way to about 700 and something, depending on what it megabytes. And what they got cooking in their background. So it's fairly minimal, I guess, 499 megabytes. And let's see, I don't think they have a and NeoFetch installed either, so we have to install that. Okay, NeoFetch. Yeah, so we got, looks like Endeavour OS. It's using the 5.117 kernel, 517, so it's pretty up-to-date kernel. And it's got 904 packages. That's one of the lower package count I've seen upon installation. So yeah, it's pretty good. And we have that. And we've got 4.16 version of XFCE and XF Window Manager, of course. It's using Arc Darker themes. Here's using these icons down here. These are all the how do you pronounce that? Cure icons, something like that. SF4 terminal, source code pro, terminal font. Interesting. And yeah, 11th generation. That's all stuff about the framework laptop there. And it says 563. Of course, this is always higher than the H-top. What H-top tells you it is. So that's what that shows. I just did my Alt F4. Yeah, so that's SFC. It's pretty vanilla version of it. Actually popped up this. Okay. So we have Firefox in here. Application Finder, which I've used a lot. If I use this has got, apparently they've installed a whisker menu on here pretty well. So that's good. Because if it don't have a search, if it's been so vanilla of a XFCE that it doesn't have the desktop on it, I mean not it has application on it, menu on it instead of the whisker menu. I use that for Application Finder, or I install whisker menu on it too. So Application Finder, in case you haven't seen it before, it's kind of like that. You can just type in Fire. It's almost like Ropey. And so you want to type in Windows Manager. Boom, there it is. So yeah, so that's that. And we have software token screenshot, content manager, task manager, text editor, Thunar file manager, Thunar, and development. Oh, we got more in here. We got CMake installed out of the box, Icon Browser, Meld, Qt Assistant, Qt Designer, Qt Linguist, Qt Bus Viewer. So yeah, you got a lot more development. Usually all you see is Icon Browser in here. In most distros, I think. Graphics. Got an image here, that's it. So it's pretty open to install whatever you want to install on it. Internet. Got Firefox plus the Avahi VNC server browser. You have multimedia here. Yeah, the media player, the video player basically. And you have Fussell volume control. So you have to install it if you want a music player or something like that. You have to install that. Settings. Yeah, color profile. Yeah, you can see they try to keep. We didn't go in and tell it to install any specific packages in the file, the customizer file. Like I say, I like to install those after the fact rather than, so I don't have to worry about all the changing all the programs back to root, from root to user and all that kind of thing much. So anyway, we got that. And we have, what else? It's settings for firewall, file manager settings, default applications, desktop display. Now, I usually don't go to this thing to look other than to browse, so for these purposes, but I will usually look at these and I'll just bring them up one at a time. Like if I wanted to make sure my power manager was active and stuff, I'd just go up to them. Yeah. Yeah, I'd have to set up. I forgot XFCE a little wonky with the way it does the menu key. So if I want a keyboard, I go keyboard and I put application shortcuts in here. And if you notice down here in the, or do they have that here? It's this place. Yeah, right here's application menu. There's a Western menu. Super space is how you bring that up. Yeah, they do it weird because they super key, which is usually your window key with little windows on it. Push that. Yeah, that's usually just pops up your window menu, right? But XFCE has to do funky things. Now yeah, if you install Xscape, XCAPE, which is another thing, and you can get it to just do it on super key. But the reason they do it this way is because if you just have the super keys on them raised up, it interferes with like super P and all these other ones. Super R would interfere with that, and super E would interfere with that, and all those other ones interfere with. So, and the super space was supposed to bring that up. I'll just remember that, hopefully, future time. So, super space, huh? Yeah, it worked, as you'd expect. And then the only one on new systems is all system stuff. Endeavour OS log tool, Endeavour OS quick start installer. Quick start installer. And I wonder if that's configure update notifier, which I remember was in the after installation task you can check up. Endeavour OS apps info. Bulk rename, if you gotta rename multiple files. There's how you do it. HTOP, as we installed that. Install system. Yeah, reflector. Welcome, update terminal. Update in terminal. Oh, update. Update like. Update. Okay, yeah. Task manager, file manager, and XFCE terminal is down in system section. So that's where all those things are located. And that's a quick rundown, brief overview of the XFCE desktop in here. Let's go check out the other ones, which I've already pretty much done. So go here, Shutdown. And we go down here where we look at Bungee next. Just quick check in on it and see what it looks like. It looks pretty similar actually, but it has a Bungee in it. Bungee look to it a bit. Power it off. So we'll go here to Bungee. And there we are. Budgie. I remember say Budgie. So let's see. Rig password. Now, interesting thing is, if you look at this, even though it's installed Gnome on it, Budgie, I installed Budgie, but I guess because it's also installed Gnome, Gnome with Wayland, Gnome with Xorg. So you get Gnome no matter what, apparently, in this deal. And I was also installed i3 on this one, and i3 debug log. So, yeah. But we're looking at Budgie here this time, so we'll look at that. And now the only difference really here was that whenever I switched over to a different icon set, it got rid of the barefoot thing down here for Budgie. The icon installed with these 4 squares. I guess it's more of a little Budgie or something. I don't know. It had a nice, cute barefoot icon down there. See the Firewall's installed over here. Shows it's got a brick on it, blocking your access to your computer. You cannot come in. That kind of thing. So, anyway, this is a wallpaper. I can't remember. I don't know if I installed this wallpaper or not. Check out Budgie desktop settings. Yeah, I think it's in Budgie desktop. Okay, yeah, I changed. I think when I changed the font icon set from the other one to this Quiglar, or from Arc to Quiglar, it got rid of the Budgie icon down there for some reason. Anyway, the dark theme, which I have all built, and built-in themes, when enabled, the built-in theme will override the desktop component styling. Okay, everything. Animations. Desktop. Yeah, you probably have to go to your regular settings to get the desktop wallpapers in here. Raven, Windows, Pen, and your auto start section. So you're gonna put in icons or programs, but you need auto start. Okay. So let's look at this. Settings. Now, unlike XFCE and Budgie, if you want to get certain settings, you can just type in like Display Manager and it'll pop up, or Window Manager, stuff like that. But yeah, I had this problem. For some reason, Budgie doesn't want to show the setting thing. I don't know what happened, but one time a little bug in Budgie, I guess, on there, apparently. Yeah, it's weird, but it doesn't want to show settings anymore. So every time I type in settings start, it doesn't show up. I can't show you that. Unless system setting, this alternate option works. Nope, nothing. Not a thing, not a thing. So let's see. And Budgie doesn't actually have Control T, Alt T set up as a key binding for opening your file manager. At any rate, see, I think it's System Tools or Utilities 1 and 2. Okay, it's bright, isn't it? If I want to take the time out and change the background to a darker background, but I'm not going to worry about it now. So, yeah, so there we go. What did it? Oh, yeah. H top. And 590 is what it registers out of here. However, let's pause that and go down through here and check that out. See where system T. So you figure out, I think I checked this out one time before, but I couldn't figure out what was causing the, probably needed a bigger window. Sound, keyboard, print, welcome. Yes, Gnome Session. Yeah, I don't know about that. I did something last time that caused it to do this, so I don't know what the problem is, but you're right, I can't find anything related to The problem I had on there. Net fetch. Okay, it says found 951 packages installed on it, so that's pretty decent. I just gonna want to check that real quick. Make sure it's using the same kernel. It is. Yeah, so it's using the Gnome Window Manager Mutter. And that's about it, I guess, huh? Yeah. So we'll exit this. Let us quick look at Bungee, such as it is. And updates. And shut this down real quick. And then we got the warm window manager over here, which is a few bugs in it, and I can show you what one of my found was, but yeah, so start. And this will bring up the warm window manager. It's pretty nice. It actually is very i3ish in its sense of things. Can't really test the tiling with floating window manager part worked pretty good though. The tiling had some issues. If it'll get past this point, I don't know. Trying to load the kernel in the RAM disk apparently. Thinking about it, thinking about it, thinking about it. Who knows what's gonna happen? Yay. The band is a live stream, huh? What will happen? We don't know. Yeah, like I say, this is in May, just been a one-shot deal. You only log into it one time or something. I'm not sure what's going on here. It usually goes a lot faster than this. Most you probably know. It is kind of, they mention it's kind of still in the beta experimental version stage of Warm Window Manager. But yeah, this apparently is not going to work. Now, it's not going to work. So, if you go for about an hour, so maybe we can have time we can install one Warm Window Manager so you can see what that looks like, huh? Yeah, this isn't going to work apparently. And we'll have to give it the old the cold shutdown. It'll do it. Okay. See if I was streaming here. Hey, I think maybe I'm back. I think you can probably hear me now. You should be able to hear me, at least according to recording. You can hear me. Everybody okay out there? Lose anybody? Larry here? Yeah, now you can hear us, Larry says. That's good. Yeah, that caused a lot more problems than I thought it would, didn't it? Hi, Jason and Danielle. Y'all were here before. Yeah, my stream apparently locked up because of, I don't know which happened first. The stream had problems, so it caused a problem with logging in to my War Manager, or if War Manager logging in War Manager caused a problem. I don't even know if I should try that again. But we had enough time. We probably could install the War Manager so you can see what it looks like. Everybody game for that? So, yeah. Endeavour looked pretty good. Bungee was the first one to mess up. And didn't want to show settings. Maybe where he goofed up, I don't know. Or switched around too fast. Maybe I switched virtual machines too fast. So who knows what caused the problem. Anyway, we'll get back over to it. Alright. Now, I suppose I should reinstall that rather than start opening this up. So remove this. Remove or delete files. We'll start a new machine up here, which Endeavour OS worm. And it's our Arch-based system, so we'll do that next. We'll increase this to 4 gig or 4 megs of memory. Next, 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 next. And we'll increase this to 30. And now we got that. All I have to do is connect the Endeavour OS Apollo to their virtual machine. Should be good to go. It sounds interesting. You see, you want to install your NVIDIA card. If you have NVIDIA drivers, install it there at this part in your BIOS menu. Hit your fallback. Boot existing OS. You run your memory to RAM test and your hardware information. And you reboot all from this one BIOS. Since we don't have NVIDIA driver, we're just going to click on regular. And it'll log in to your live system as soon as it gets there. I'll show you something kind of nifty on this part, though I mentioned it earlier, but I'll show you what this does on this worm. Yeah, well, actually it's on all the versions of the installer, so it's not just worm that does this. Especially in worm, which is window manager, when you say, how do I change my display? And there's an easy way to do it in here. Change display resolution right here. Bingo, wingo. And this is the right one for me. Set and quit. Ta-da! Let's go ahead and full screen this so you can see everything. So that's where I had that. And you can start your installer. We went through this before. You can start your installer here. You install Community Edition, which worm is Community Edition, so we'll go there to start that. And we already went through all this other stuff. Customizing install process, update mirrors, change display resolution, all those kind of things. Go ahead and do the update mirrors just so we have the fastest, quickest mirrors we can get on here. Been through this already for those of you that came in late. If you're curious about the beginning part, you can always look at it until it had a crash. Okay. Now the next screen will pop up is screen, there it goes. where you save your results to pack memory list. Okay, now we can go here. Install community editions. And you can see all the other options you have in community editions too, which is kind of nice. So we go next. Yep, next. Next. And we're gonna erase this install. Storage device. Yep, everything looks good there. If you're gonna do this on a live machine, of course you have to check through, make sure you're using the right disk on this. But since this virtual machine is only one disk, it's all empty. Now here's your different window managers you can use. How to this created by the community for you. Sway, Qtile, BSPWM, OpenBox, and Worm. Worm's a new one that was created by one of their maintainers. So he has it in the community edition. So you select over here. Yeah, I was trying to click over there and those. Well, I can't seem to select anything. You select this Sway edition, or you can do this Qtile edition. I mean, notice all these community editions are all window managers. None of them are desktop entries. Well, that's interesting. So, Worm is a tiny dynamic tag-based window manager written in NIM language. It supports both the floating mode and master stack tiling with gaps and struts. Warning: early development version that could include not fully working parts, as you'll see in a minute. Assuming it does the same thing. So next, we're going to install Worm on here. And you got all this stuff here. Support printers, printing support, Zen, kernel, LT, just like the beginning, except a lot less selection since all the selections for other desktop entries are not included in this part. Pretty nice, huh? And so there you go. So we'll go with that. Minimal base install base package. Except for installing Firefox. And this is Endeavour. Worm. And same as always done before. Okay. Yep, that's all good. Install now. Thanks for trusting us. Open Collective Community. Open Collective sounds almost like the board, doesn't it? We'll join our collective, all that kind of stuff. You'll be assimilated. Resistance is futile. Yeah, I wonder if someone's trying to make a board version of a distro. I wouldn't doubt it at some point. Even if it's no longer working, you probably had a board distro out there somewhere. I bet. So this is downloading and stuff. It's obviously using since it has access, it's going to download everything. The good thing about this means you don't have to do updating afterwards. It's everything's update when you first install it. And Endeavour is one of those distros I really like a lot as far as Archbase. Yeah. Rick joined the board again? Again? And I joined it the first time, Nate. So, yeah, it's one of those interesting. Seems like they changed things around a bit on this version of it, though. The installer, they got different selections. They have different things on here. See, here's what I was talking about after install tasks. And it goes update mirrors again, update system, package configuration. And change display manager. You actually change display manager. Change display resolution, which of course was on the first one. Endeavour OS default wallpaper. Those where you can get those. And log for troubleshooting. XFCE vanilla theme. Stuff like that. Of course, that's from the XFCE thing. It's got all those desktops here in case you wanted to know. Each with its own strengths and weaknesses. Sorry, didn't see the message, Nate says. What message is that? Sometimes this won't move, but are you? Some progress are not recorded by the progress bar. Some progress is not recorded by the progress bar. Interesting. Please be patient. Converse is installing Endeavour OS. Yeah, this is an easy way to get a basic Arch-based system installed without going through the whole Arch-based way of installing things. If you don't like that, this is the way you do it. Yeah, Jason, it's pretty great. I like it. I used it before, and only problem is I used Cinnamon, and I was doing fractional scaling. I had to do fractional scaling for my display because it's a weird 3:2 display on this framework laptop, and it didn't match up well with the big 1080 screen I have up here. So eventually I just decided to go with the distro, even though I got it to work sorta. It was just funky the way I had to use it. So I put this 1080 laptop over here back on it and used it with that. Now I've got this laptop over here, framework laptop, which I use to stream with and all that other stuff. My writing laptop too. I put all my writing stuff on it, things like that. So it's a good time to tell you about my writing. Science fiction, fantasy, and other stuff. Yeah. rlkoppel.com. Check it out. Okay, so it's generating grub configuration files, so it should be kicking along pretty soon. And so if I wonder how many people always think I'm crying or something when I have all this water coming out of my eyes. It didn't help that I got DBS in that regard because it made me more criable. That went really weird. Man, right after I had DBS, it was like crazy. Strange. It's like I was drunk the way I moved and stuff. Okay, so now we're done. And we're going to close this out. I don't know if that was what caused it. This is the XFCE version of it's their standard default, like a lot of distros, it's standard default. One. Use. So. Alright. Endeavour on Linux. And it's gonna run warm. Hey, back further than it did last time. Didn't crash system or nothing like that. Started LXD window manager. So, your password. And away it goes. You notice it's got its Windows, your desktop tags, or as they refer refer to them. Down here, 1 through 9. 1, they don't list 1 apparently because you're on it or something. I don't know if they do that. Let's say 2. See, it's highlighting them as you go down the list. But for some reason, they don't show 1. Oh, 1's way over here. It's right here. It's kind of odd. It's one of those little bugs they have in here, apparently. 1's way over there. Didn't notice that last time I looked into it. So yeah, you got all these window managers over here. 100% battery. And it's got your time and your date here. And your power menu here where you log out at. So you have over here, you got a terminal emulator, XFCE terminal emulator. That's where you click that. It's almost like a theme there, isn't it? Then you have your text editor and TheodOR file manager. Now all these have key bindings on them. I remember most of them because some of them are the same as what is on Arco Linux's version of can't think now. Awesome window manager. Yeah, there's no nice convenient thing like Awesome has on your brand that shows all the list of your current settings for your key bindings, but still it's not hard to remember. So you got your X. This is floating manager. Starts out floating. Yeah, so this is like your terminal can be brought up with the super return or enter, if you want to call it. Super Q clears a window. And yeah, so now to get to tiling window manager, you hit Super T. To go back to floating window manager, you hit Super F. So you do that, see now it tiles that. Now that tiles that. Now the bug I found now is if I tile one more window, instead of doing master stack like it says it's going to do in the description of it, it does. Well, master only. Stack goes totally away. At least did last time. We'll see what happens. Yeah. See? It's a little bug I found out in this. So, interesting. Yeah. Nice additions, Daniel says. They are. So anyway, you have that, but it's down there. You can see it's down here in the links. So you can pull it up. So you can quit. And then it brings the other one back. Like magic. Like magic. And so you got a little bug there. They can't tile to full, but you can tile it up 2 windows at a time on a workspace, and you have another workspace to tile more windows if you want to do that. So I usually don't have, I very frequently have more than 2 up in one window, but you might use tiling on a window manager to have a lot of windows open at one spot, who knows. So yeah, this is Worm, but oh yeah, let's check out. Doesn't have it, of course, so we'll have to install sudo pacman htop, and we'll install Neopets while we're at it. Okay. Htop, it's got 264 megs out of 4 gigs of memory space. 264 megabytes, not bad. It's pretty good actually for Window Manager. Yeah. The only thing beat is just nothing at all. Just a console, which is what I have on my server out there. And yeah. And we just gave it 1 CPU, so it's going at 3.2 around 3% or so, 2 to 3%. And yeah, not bad. Neofetch, see how many packages it actually installed. It installed 753 packages. Pretty chintzy on it, isn't it? Yeah, it's using 5.17 kernel as stated on the other ones, so it's the same kernel. Yeah. Warm window manager. Not too shabby, huh? And XFCE terminal is the one it uses out of the box. Yeah, it's font they call JetBrains Mono. Interesting font name, JetBrains. And yeah, so I got my eyes before I can go to anything else pretty much. Yeah. This condition sometimes gets in the way of stuff. Let's see if I'm good. So that's in that. And X out of that. Now let's see. Oh yeah. We need to do also is go to here. Increase size of that a bit. And we'll look at our window manager stuff. Let's do that. Go to config. And yeah, the only thing I like about this background is some of their things are hard to read on here. They don't have enough contrast. I played around with that on the other one, trying to figure out how to change it. I ran out of time on that, so there you go. So anyway, there's a worm category. Also of interest is there's a SXHKD category, which is where they store their key bindings. So I'll take a look at that real quick. Yeah, so Nano SXHKDRC. And we got that. So here you got Super Return opens a terminal, Super Q closes a window, Super 1 through 9 will switch to that tag, as they call it, or what's normally referred to as desktop environment. Tag, disarm, basically accomplish the same function, same thing, but there are different purposes, different ways of doing it, I guess. Super Shift will move it from 1 through 9 to that tag. And Super R will do in Rofi now. I had to change that originally on the other one because the Super R most of them seem to is a reset function. Or no, it's Super Shift R. It's reset. So it reminds me of what you want to do. You may want to do Rofi. You might remember it easier. Or if you're used to having a Super D brand menus like that, you can put Super D there. You notice there's no other D's listed out here. One thing you have to be careful of is like Firefox or Thunar. You might want to attempt to put F there, but down here, Super F down here, which switches it to floating window layouts. So, yeah. So Super F will switch it back to floating. Which then you resize this, or should be able to resize it. I don't know if maybe one of the things they're still working on. CB resize function on that. So, Super P, power menu. Oh, it's Rofi power menu. Yeah. So that's that. And then you got over here, Nano into Worm. Oh, I had Nano and Worm. I didn't CD and Worm. See me? No. CD Worm. Yes, there is. Oh. See, this is a dot there. It's hard to read there's a dot there because background is so different. So I need to play with the These little, they have buttons here. RC here. RC is probably your configuration file. So we'll nano into that. And here you start off SDK and screen layout, monitors, sets. That's where you hold your screen layout for screens. So when you boot into it, it'll come back. PyCom is your window, your compositor, which allows for transparencies. Tint 2, I'm not sure exactly what that is, but it tints something, apparently, if I go by the name. So, tint 2. And we have Fay, which establishes our wallpaper. See, we're using user share Endeavor's backgrounds, Endeavour OS wallpaper. And those are commented out. And then you have this frame active pixel. The only thing I fear is that's Windows. Apparently this didn't work before, now it does. Changes it for active to inactive. Oh, it's the same color, so you're not going to get it, but I guess you wanted to change the colors to make it different for active windows as opposed to inactive. You can do that. Wonder what happened if we put in some here. Okay, put in. All one of those 111. Whoops. Forget this is nano not. What it should give you is a color similar to what the background of this is. We'll find out. And model size 10. Close path. Minimize. This establishes the buttons that you see up here. And button size, border width 2. Let's increase that just so we can see better what that does if it changes the show 5 for the fun of it. And border active pixels, inactive pixels, border. That's border. I wonder what this is over here. Maybe it's like the header or something up here. Yeah. Y'all talk among yourselves. I gotta go take a quick trip to you know where. Be right back. Must be a Scotch whiskey. Yeah. Monkey shoulder. So, yeah. Let's see, we got width 5. I don't know what this is. Same one, I know it's different up there. I'll leave that as it is, I guess. So that changes over here. We're going to change this to that color, this background color. And struts and gaps. And it appears to be, that's all the layout. It starts out as floating. I guess you might try tiling and see what happens. Maybe the tiling works better out of the box if you have it set for tiling. Hope that's the right word. I don't know if it is or not, but I'm going to try it out and see what happens. Might kill the system or something doing it, but it's just virtual machine, right? So we have that. So to see, I have a way to reset this other than log out, I don't think. I don't remember seeing a reset key binding in there. The actual reset should be that, but all it does is print a capital R. So Super Shift R was the usual key binding for reset, window manager, stuff like that. I remember seeing one in there, so I guess we'll just log out, log in, see what happens, huh? Makes sense. Oh man. Sneak up on like this. Bam! Log out. And you have to type log out. And hit enter. And it does nothing apparently to log out. It's not logging out. Okay, we'll try restart then. But you gotta type the whole thing. There's a bug apparently. Found another bug to squish on this worm. So we'll just go reboot. I think that works, if I remember correct. Yeah, that works. Reboot. And we'll load back in the worm. I was going to show you something else on this before I actually log back into a worm, especially if it doesn't work. Down here, you can get your desktops. Yeah, just worm. No gnome, no nothing, just worm. So if you crash your worm system, you have to start over, I guess, or something like that. Oops. Okay, there you are. Okay, now let's see, we went directly to tiling window manager. So it does master stack with this. Nope. The same thing you did with the other one. Quit. Yeah, it's still a work in progress parallels worm installer. On the tiling part at least. So the floating manager seemed to work pretty good, actually. It was ran okay. Yeah, probably do can log out. I don't know about that, but I could just type reboot from the menu from here if I had to. Or log out, but I was trying to log out specifically. Kill. Let's try that. See. Yeah, sure enough. Sure enough, kill works. Handy little trick there. Yeah, let's just quit out of this because I wanted to go look at I3. Maybe Endeavour OS, but yeah, we installed on here. Let's go check this out real quick. Be our last thing to check out on here, I think. Alrighty. Everybody hanging in over there, alright? Okay, hope I forgot. Yeah, I do that sometimes. I forgot next when I made. Still just brings up this one thing instead of the other one that has all the after installation stuff on it. I'm not sure why, but it does. Let's see if it works in here too. And just reset the, or reset it on this situation. Okay, how do you log that? It's settings. Guess I have to restart. So I had to restart twice, but I forgot what I was doing when by the time I got to the. By the time I got to the spot where I could switch distros. And we're finally here. This time we'll log in until I'm done. I logged in straight to Endeavour OS. That's why. That's weird. I'm selecting that. Okay, well, I know you can fix that. Change it to where it's forced you to log in or where it's at, though. So, I guess I got 3 on the other one. I can look up on that. Maybe I don't have a log out. That's probably why I don't have a log out function on this XFCE version, because you don't log in to begin with. So how can you log out? Just log it right back in. That's why it logged me right back in XFCE when I hit pkill XFCE4. So I'll go back here to Bungee, and we'll start this up. And because I know it's got XI3 on it. Right here. I3. Must have clicked that. Okay. Why is Firefox? Yeah, that stuff. Tells you about I3 there. Yeah, I3 has a lot of same key bindings. This one does that, and I think if you hit Super B, next one will start tiling that way. So you hit Super H, and then start tiling this way. Easy teeny weeny windows down there. I'd rather prefer it automatically do it without having to do that like that. Master stack version, but there's a way to do that in i3. I don't know what it is, but I've done some some searches on it to find out, but I can't seem to find out why, because I think one of the, it's either Manjaro or one of the other i3 window managers I've tested out does it that way with master stack instead of just dividing it till you tell it to go to the direction. More dynamic that way. I like it that way pretty much. Here's what it is. So this is i3 on here. It's nice. Firewall's established out of the box. It's got a little network, Ethernet network connection going there. Power thing there. Your date, time. She has sleeve. What's sleeve for? Sleeve is actually for the what do you call it? Feather. Oh yeah, it sets power profile, balance, cancel, performance, or power saver. They say maybe it's leaf is there because it's currently in power saver mode. Leave click balanced. And see if that's true, it should change this to a little, whatever you want to call it, the scale thing. Thinking about it, still working on it. May have found another bug. And I'm good at finding bugs these days, aren't I? Yeah. Sorry about that, Larry. I tend to mumble sometimes when I'm working on stuff like this. I try to talk loud, but sometimes I don't, so my fault. This old man can't hear sometimes, he says, unless it's our wives. We never hear. Turn your hearing aids off, stuff like that, huh? Yeah. We have 22 gigabyte. That's your hard drive, I think. 11%. That's probably CPU. And that CPU there, I'm not sure what this is. Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what that is, icon. It could be CPU. So about it's around enough, like this would be CPU here. Here's your input output if you want to Firefox. Let's see. Super B. No, not sure it starts the browser in this side 3. As you get here and click this. Yeah, that'll start the browser. And see, does it show any input on that? It didn't seem to show anything down there for the megabytes down in this section here. Upload or download. Probably have to do some in the trickling with the tick hacking on it or something to get that to show up. So I'm not working on that part out of the box. 100% power battery. You have your volume set 74%. And it looks like a set recorder there. I don't know what that is. I already looked at that. And it never changed that, did it? No, it just stays, it always stays leaf. Switched to balance power on before though. So anyway, that's my website in case you don't know. See, your privacy manufacturer, ratchet. Okay. And that's good. Update available. 22 stream updates available. Available at 4/13/22. Oh, yes. I guess that's all we show in Light 3. I don't know. Is there anything else we'll look at Light 3? Anybody have any? We already looked. Oh yeah, let's compare. 418, I think Worm had 200 and some. So it beats out this. This beats out XFCE by about 100 megabytes on the same distro. With it installed, let's see. We have 951 packages installed on this guy right there. And we are running the right kernel, same kernel as all the other ones. That's good. And that's i3, I think. Let's see through our file manager. Yeah, here's your files. Other thing here. I'd show you my pictures, but there aren't any. Or videos. So nothing strange on here. Document, trash. So things you're familiar with in our file manager. If you're familiar with within our file manager, probably familiar with this. So there you go. Now they have this little thing down here. Where's that? Last thing you opened up. Oh, there's a little menu they threw in there on top of Window Manager. i3 is a Window Manager if you want to learn a little bit. Also the best Window Manager because you have the screen that pops up that tells you all those key bindings you currently have, so you can get used to them. If you forget what they are, you can pop, I think it's Super G if I remember right, on there. Pop up the list screen bindings or key bindings that you have. Pretty cool. So I guess i3, and we're about time to depart. So we'll go back over here and should put this up first, huh? Yeah, so that was Endeavour OS with the Apollo version. I had some changes in the way you install things. Some pretty much improvements, I think, overall. And it had the new War Manager, which is still a work in progress, obviously. But it's i3. You also have those other window managers we didn't check out, which is a good list, which is BSP, BP, WM, BSP, WM, that's it. So then you also have the Q tile we didn't check out. You also have the other ones that are on there. I can't remember what all of them were, but anyway. War Manager and yeah. So you have several window managers. You got an official window manager in i3, and you have the other window managers in the community edition, because that's all the community editions are. It's window managers. One desktop entry, you gotta not go to the community installation section. So yeah. But I like Endeavour. Is probably one of my favorite Arch-based systems. And it worked pretty well for me when I had installed it here for a while. And It was with the previous version, I think they had. What was it? The oh, now I mean, since rolling distro Arch-based, the only addition they have on it when they pull it, say they have additions for it, is snapshots of current state of things right then. So yeah, they just created new one of those. They name them something different every time. They give them a little bit of flavor and changes. They can announce release. That's the thing I think a lot of distros miss out on when they eschew the release versions. They have its updates installed all the time. So they miss out on the whole hype of having a new release come out and everybody reviews it and everybody looks at it and checks it out. Thing where you see more Arch-based distros do releases, bigger releases, because that's where they get publicity from. Channels like mine will pick it up and check it out, you know. So people look at it and go, wow, that looks cool. Oh, that message. I just should remember what message Nathan was talking about. So, yeah, I like Endeavour really well, and I would use it for my main distro if I was going to use an Arch-based system. Out of Arch-based ones, I probably like Manjaro and Endeavour the best. Manjaro because it just seems to work pretty much most of the time. Endeavour because it's got so much cool stuff with it and things like that. So you can install what programs you want on it pretty much. You can install a minimal edition of it. Now there's another way you can install programs. I think it's a big key thing you take away from all the bug fixes and stuff like that. But the big thing was that if you edit that file that has listed on the customized installation, and you can plug in what programs you want it to install while it's installing. It's pretty cool. Or you can plug in other things in the other file, the bash file, bash statements that will configure your system however you want. Now, I don't know if it's advantage to do that or not, because then you gotta go in, you gotta CHOWN the things back from any programs installs over from root to your username. So I'm not sure how well that works, but it probably works somewhat well, but I haven't tried it yet, so I don't know. But I just have scripts I install my programs on, so I don't have any issues with that. Matter of fact, I developed pretty sophisticated scripts. So I'd show you those another day. I think I've already shown them once, but some people may be on looking at them and didn't look at them last time, that kind of thing. So with that said, I don't have anything else to add that I can think of at least. So what do y'all guys, anybody have any notes about what we go? We have a Linux Saloon happening again this week, I think. Oh, I think next week. See, everybody's in Holy Week right now, as they're in this section of the world. But next week is going to be Orthodox Holy Week, which is what I am. I'm Orthodox. So next Wednesday I probably won't have a show, basically because I'll be at church. They have services always, kind of like revival week for Orthodox, you know, or Catholics. And so I'll probably be at church Wednesday this time, so if you miss next week, we're not going to have a show, really big show, or no show at all, whatever. And we'll, let's see, what else was. And we have a Linux Saloon happen this week, I assume, Nathan, or are you cutting that out for the same reasons or something? Yeah, you can tell us on the, yes, I play with Arch Linux a lot, Larry. If you look in my, Larry's asking, did you ever play with Arch Linux? And I have like reviews of several of the Arch Linux versions on my uploaded versions and files, and Not the live shows, but the upload versions I did. Yeah, so they reviewed most of them. I didn't get to Qtile and Xmonad, but I did all the weird ones like Herbistophilus, or whatever, however that one's called, or stuff like that. Also did FWM, floating. I call it floating because it said that after you make whatever you want, so I made floating, made sense to me. Floating window manager. And I looked at several of them, starting with i3 and some of those, I think. So you can check it out on my backlist logs on my channel, and see any Arch Linux reviews I did on those various ones I did on. Also did all reviews of all the Manjaro reviews and those kind of things. But before I installed Linux on this framework, I had Manjaro on it. It was running pretty cool and pretty good, I think. And I was debating whether to really change it because I was so far I was happy with Manjaro. But yeah, so I had problems. Didn't have any problems with it, nothing. Wasn't working badly. I could do fractional scale and XFCE. I think it's version I had installed on here. But yeah. So I did play with Arch Linux a bit, and I messed with Manjaro, and actually did Arch text installer one time, fully text. Installed my Arch that way, which I'm this thing we're going to do on Linux Saloon 8, but we haven't done that yet, so I've been saving it. So we'll see what happens with that. Anyway, we assume, Nathan, unless we're probably going to do a Linux Saloon this week. But you can do that anytime because you don't have to be there for it. You have help. Unlike me, nobody can do this for me, so let's see. And Steve, I don't know if Steve's mentioned connection on his connection. I don't know if Steve's mentioned he's going to have a show Sunday morning like he usually does or not. So we'll wait to see what that is. Maybe join the Linux Saloon conversation this coming weekend at 6 o'clock. And I think they're going to do the European version again at 3 o'clock Eastern time. Right, Nathan? 3 o'clock? I think it'd be 1 o'clock my time, PM. And otherwise, we'll see at 6 o'clock Mountain Time, 7 o'clock Central Time, 8 o'clock Eastern Time, and 5 o'clock Pacific Time. Or whatever tomorrow. You can figure it out beyond that for if you're in another part of the world. And Linux Saloon, which Nathan usually hosts. Maybe somebody else do this week. I don't know. Apparently put Nathan to sleep, so he's hadn't said anything about it yet. So I was gonna wait and see if he would, but apparently not. So yeah, my voice tends to put people to sleep. Yeah. What can I do? I don't know. I try and talk louder and wake everybody up. Hey, you. But yeah. So I guess that's all for Brews and Lynch with Non-Lynch Screw Guy this week. Probably until at least 2 weeks away. Let's see, let me think. Also, I got some other things coming up in May that are going to cause me not to be here on Wednesday as well. So I got an anniversary coming up, 40th anniversary coming up. And let's see, where is it? 15th. I remember May 15th. But I don't think it's going to get in the way of doing a show, since we're going to be coming back Tuesday. if I remember right, for my little trip we're going to take. But I will be gone on 2 more Wednesdays, one in May, one in June. Pretty sure. As I take off to go to places and do things. Unless I can do a show from the convention I'm going to be at. Find out where I can do that or not. Depends on schedules that they have and stuff like that. So anyway, no show next week. We'll return the following week, and that's pretty much it. Hope you enjoyed this episode and this trip down Endeavour Lane with Apollo. I'd love to show the Saturn rocket taking off, but I'm afraid of getting copyright issues if I did that, so nothing there. So with that, I'll sign off. My usual sign off, which is may the Linux Force be with you. Bye.